Okay, so this is for world history. We're moving on from the French Revolution and talking about the Reign of Terror. You have a document and some questions to go with it. In 1789, the French Revolution upset a centuries-old French apple cart. In the eyes of many, however, the apple cart needed upsetting. For years, absolute monarchs have ruled the French nation with little consideration for the majority of the people. King Louis XVI was having his troubles. France was in serious debt because of expensive wars in Europe. France had worsened her debt by helping America to fight the British overseas. Meanwhile, at home, poor people were starving. The price of bread had skyrocketed because of the weather had devastated the grain harvest. Making matters still worse was a confusing and unfair tax system. To his credit, Louis sought the advice of nobles, church officials, and even commoners, but the problems just grew. Louis XVI called the Estates General, the assembly of 1,200 men, to help solve the financial crisis he unleashed. Changed he would not control. On June 20th, 1789, a powerful group of men walked out of the Estates General and vowed to create a new constitution. 3 weeks later, mobs of Parisians stormed the old fortress called the Bastille and stole weapons that would later be used against the royal government forces. On August 26th, the new revolutionary government signed a document called the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen, which ensured liberty, equality, and fraternity for the people of France. Half of the adult male population was given the right to vote, reducing the power of the king and nobles and the Catholic Church, while giving new powers to the common people. Not everyone loved the new reforms. The nobility and Catholic Church were unhappy because they lost a chunk of their property and power. Monarchs in neighboring countries like England, Austria, and Prussia were unhappy because they feared the spread of the revolution. Some peasants in the French countryside were unhappy about having to fight in a foreign war that had started as a result of the revolution. To deal with this opposition, the French Revolution became more radical, led by a chief prosecutor named Maximilien Robespierre. The king was found guilty of crimes against the state and guillotined in public square on January 21st, 1793. His wife Marie Antoinette was executed 9 months later. The execution of Louis XVI gave way to a year-long period of French Revolution known as the Reign of Terror. Led by Robespierre, the new government proceeded to execute large numbers of individuals whom it considered to be enemies of the revolution. Among the targets were the Catholic Church, which they regarded as the old order, the nobles, and the peasant rebels. At the same time, international tensions escalated to war. The new government had to do battle both inside and outside the country. In mid-1794, the Reign of Terror came to a rather abrupt end. Robespierre himself was executed, and more conservative government was put in place. Within 5 years, Napoleon would take control. But our focus is the Reign of Terror. The many questions ask you to consider how far a people and government should go to preserve the vision of their liberty and equality. In 1793 and 94, were conditions in France serious enough to require such a violent response by the revolutionary government? In other words, the Reign of Terror, was it justified? So if you go to the second page after this, there are questions there and a couple definitions. Please do those and hand in. Just a heads up, June 5th will be the last day I'm giving out work. If you've done all your work up to that point, you will be done for the year. If you have not, that will, from June 5th to June 11th, will be a makeup period for anybody who has not done any work, should hand it in at that point. Okay, make sure you fill out the attendance sheet, and I will see you tomorrow.